Okay, Wendy, the recording is in process. We are doing something a little bit different. This is Sunday. We're recording this Sunday. It is about 1 o'clock Central Standard Time. We're gonna kind of go over yesterday's game, Saturday's game, and see if we can keep this in 20, 25 minutes, and then maybe do another one later in the week about this week's games. We'll see how this goes. I think it'll be fun to get some reaction. Not maybe wait till longer in the week. But listen, if you have not listened to this before, my name's Trey Davis. This is Wendy. Wendy is my sister. Wendy is a year older than me. We started doing this podcast, getting it on YouTube probably 3 years ago. Mostly our family and our friends listen to it. That's kind of who we're talking to, or have fun, including them in the show. That's who we are. If you do want to listen to this on podcast,
yep,
it's in Apple Podcasts, and I think it's in Google Podcasts too, but it's in Apple Podcasts. In the Apple Podcasts, I kind of cut it up a little bit. There's some like music at the beginning, there's music at the end, and sometimes I'll cut up the audio. Sometimes it's easier to listen to that way. So you can go on the Apple podcast and look for Trey and Wendy, and that's where we're at. So
perfect.
Wendy, I just wanted to get that across so people kind of know who we are. We just enjoy getting on here talking about football. We're casual. We're Alabama fans, but we're casual kind of college football fans, SEC fans. And most of our friends are either Auburn fans, Georgia fans. We have some Tennessee fans in there. So we just try to get on here and have a good time. Wendy.
Well, I just want to say this real quick. Trey's a casual fan. I'm an absolute wild man when it comes to this stuff. So Trey might be casual. Wendy is not casual. Like there's nothing casual about me with this game. So just want to clear that up for anybody.
Well, Wendy, we were talking yesterday, and I mean, it was entertaining. That was fun. We watched the end of the Notre Dame game. They're talking to her on the phone. We were kind of going back and forth. That was really fun. Wendy, let's just get into it. Let's bust into it. Notre Dame goes down. We were talking during that game. We might as well start with that one. Notre Dame goes down to Northern Illinois when everybody's got Notre Dame with a clear path to the playoffs.
Yep.
Well, have you looked out the window lately, Notre Dame? Because they get beat on a field goal by isn't it Northern Illinois?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Northern Illinois, Wendy, what's up?
Listen, I said last week that I wasn't really sure if Notre Dame or Texas A&M were that good. Remember, I was like, it was a great game, but I said last week, I'm not sure either team is good, and I was right. Notre Dame's not good. They're never going to be good. Y'all know I'm a Notre Dame hater, but listen, good for Northern Illinois. Good for that coach. That coach used to play there. He was a part of Northern Illinois how many ever years ago? And I mean, just to see those guys work so hard, it was a pretty clean game. Few times I thought the refs were trying to give it to Notre Dame there, but man, it was truly one of the best games of the day. And congratulations to those kids, man. I mean, they've never beat a ranked team before in the history of their college football program. So perfect game.
I think it was a top 10 ranked team, but I think the big deal with them that I heard throughout the game, and I only watched bits and pieces of it. You have to flash around so many games. But they had a bunch of older players on the team. So it kind of goes back into that NCAA basketball method of if you can keep your guys around 3 or 4 years and build something, you really could build a really good team. And Wendy, you might be seeing a way that teams might try to do it. And here's the first example of, hey, and I don't know, they might have all transfers. I don't think they do. I think they have a bunch of those players that have been there for 3 or 4 years together. And they come up and they gel together and they win some football games. Notre Dame goes down, Wendy. Let's just bust through a couple of the short ones. Nebraska blast Deion primetime off the field last night. Nebraska's been looking for a breakout game. Hyped up as hype could get. Nebraska ends up beating Deion Sanders. And that's pretty much expected. Everybody expected that.
Yep. Here's the thing. Deion should have let his kid go play for a school that he wasn't coaching. I believe that. He's got that Hunter kid and his son, very good players. But Deion, you got to build everybody around a man, and these two kids aren't going to win a ball game. Just because you've got two really good kids, they're not going to win the ball games. And you come in here and you talk a lot of smack. Not to say Deion Sanders knows football. I don't think he's that good of a head coach. You see what I'm saying? I just don't think he's that good of a head coach. I think his son, they took him back to the tunnel with 2 minutes left. Nothing wrong with them. Just like go on back. And like, I just don't like stuff like that. You know what I mean? You didn't win. You talk a bunch of crap on TV. You should have let your kids go and play. I mean, these kids could have played at Georgia, Alabama, Ohio States, and they would have been winning. You know why? Because they had the people around them to win a ball game. So
yeah, Dion brings the eyeballs to the to the TV though. I mean, it is entertaining.
He does.
For whatever it's worth, the guy's entertaining. Texas beats the University of Michigan, Wendy. Oh, let's hype up. It's Texas and Michigan and the big house and the blah, 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 blah. Texas go out there and basically says, we're about to beat you in every facet of the game. They beat them in every facet of the game. Michigan fumbles the ball late in the first half, gives Texas goes and scores a touchdown, which emphasized that turnover. They're up 24-3 at halftime, winning. This game was never really in doubt. Michigan's got a bunch of problems. They lost so many people. Texas is humming on all cylinders. Texas looks like they might be able to beat you in a couple of different ways. They might be able to beat you offensively, and they might be able to beat you defensively. So Texas, look out. Here they come.
Listen, y'all, Texas is the real deal. This Ewers kid, I've said it for a long time. He is the real deal. Sarkisian's a great coach. He can put together a great offensive scheme. He puts his guys in the best positions to win a game. But listen, y'all, Michigan is terrible, and they were gonna be terrible, and that's why Harbaugh jumped on out of there, went to the NFL. So there was no doubt that Michigan was going to come in here and blow it out this year as far as being terrible. I probably worded that the wrong way, but they're absolutely terrible. I could care less about Michigan. I hope they never play another football game. I hope they get sanctioned and they don't get to play for 2 years. That's how much I hate Michigan, because they're cheaters. And I'm always going to say that. They're never going to get past that with me. They're cheaters.
So I don't think you have to worry about Michigan being on the top of many lists. Wendy, South Carolina beats Kentucky. Everybody's got South Carolina down. They're the worst team in the SEC. They're this, they're that. They had a bad game last week. They're going to Kentucky. Kentucky's got this program. Well, it doesn't win a ton. It is very consistent in the wins that they do get every year. South Carolina goes up there and rolls up Kentucky, Wendy. I had a feeling. I didn't say I had a feeling. I have no idea. I didn't even know what time the game was on. I knew it was a 2:30 game, but I wasn't going to watch the game. It's very boring East type game. But it looks like possibly Kentucky's playing Georgia this week.
Yeah,
Kentucky is playing Georgia this week. It looked like maybe Kentucky, the old adage, was looking ahead at Georgia and forgot that South Carolina was coming in. Shane Beamer, your favorite for 2 or 3 years, Wendy, beats Kentucky.
Yeah, and listen, I mean, I don't know if anybody, I watched a little bit of that game last night or yesterday afternoon. Listen, they've got a quarterback and a receiver duo that's pretty dang good, Trey. As long as their lines can hold up, and we'll have to see. Very disappointed in Kentucky. Kentucky's just consistently got better over the last 4 years. I really like that Kentucky football program, but they've run out of steam. And honestly, Trey, I'm off Shane Beamer. So I'm off Shane Beamer, back on Lane Kiffin, who's my other favorite coach. And so, of course, right when I get off of the guy, he's going to figure out probably how to have a winning season. But I didn't realize their quarterback could do. I mean, Trey, he was throwing some dimes yesterday. It was pretty interesting to watch.
Did not see it, but South Carolina looks like, hey, Alabama's got to play South Carolina. South Carolina might not be the worst team in the conference. Wendy, the Arkansas Razorbacks, in a game that I watched, the Arkansas Razorbacks is playing Oklahoma State yesterday in the early window. They're playing at Oklahoma State. Arkansas is up in this game. Arkansas basically has to hang on to the football, possibly score a touchdown or a field goal in the second half. Either one, they're probably going to win the game. If they hang on to the ball, basically bleed clock, score once or twice when you have it, and this game is probably over. Arkansas turning the ball over left and right. Oklahoma State kicker makes two or three big field goals. Yeah. And then Oklahoma State just doesn't go away. And Oklahoma State, in just a crazy double overtime game where Oklahoma State gave Arkansas every single chance they could have had to win the game, Oklahoma State beats Arkansas. And I couldn't be less happy. I couldn't be I'm on Sam Pittman's side. I don't even know how I'm trying to say it. I want Sam Pittman to win. For some reason, he reminds me a little bit of my dad. I don't really understand why he's kind of got that figure to him. And I really hate to see him lose a game where Oklahoma State was like, just take the thing. Here, I'm giving it to you, take it. And Arkansas did not take it, Wendy.
Here's the problem, Trey. You can't ever count really Gundy out, though. You know, Gundy, I'm a big Gundy fan back when he had his mullet for Oklahoma State. This dude will tell everybody he's taken every head coaching position available just to get a raise. I like him. But here's the other thing, Arkansas, it's discipline, man. Multiple times they suplex the quarterback. Like, y'all have these opportunities and you're giving them 10, 15 yards. And I'm going to go back to SEC and discipline problems. Like we saw it with LSU. We saw it yesterday with Arkansas. We saw it with Alabama. Like, you got to be disciplined in these moments. I think as an Alabama fan, Saban had our guys to discipline for so long. We didn't have to, we just didn't see a lot of that. But I'm going to tell you something. The discipline in the SEC is a real thing. And these boys better just stop. Because again, I'm like you, they were trying to give them the game, but there were three basically, personal fouls that they had in that last quarter that really you just didn't have to do it, Arkansas. Just be done with the play and go about your business and get down here and play football. So I'm going to go back to discipline, and I mean, I'd say when some of these kids are making more money than the coaches at this point. So just is what it is. But Arkansas, I'll tell you another thing, Trey, when you and I were talking, you had a really good point. It's like, the offensive coordinator would call like one or two really great plays and the next three were trash. It was like, stay consistent with,
Well, I don't know if it was actually the coordinator's fault, but it was like Arkansas would gain like 12 yards and then they would lose 8 and then they would gain 16 yards. Then they would lose 12 yards. It was kind of bizarre that like they would make some and then go backwards and then get some forward. So it was funny. All right, Wendy, that's that. Wendy, we've got to get through 2 more teams that I've got written down on here. And like I said, we're going to do the review of last week's games. We're going to try to do a shorter preview possibly during the week. It feels like I might have a little bit more time on Sunday to get to this. My weeks are just getting busy. The Auburn football Tigers, possibly the Auburn swim and dive unit, were on the plains yesterday, and everybody loves everybody, and we're ready to go, and we got the freshman 4, and we've got Hugh Freeze back at the helm, and we got this, baby. California has played terrible against decent teams. They don't have a shot. It's a whiteout. Jordan Hare is electric.
Oh, it was.
But wait just one more minute, Wendy. We've got to play the football game, Wendy. And Cal beats the Auburn football swim and dive unit on the plains, and everybody is starting to look around, shall you say, Wendy? Go ahead.
Listen, man. I'm a Hugh Freeze fan. I don't know what we're doing with this Peyton Thorne guy. I really don't. I'd almost rather see a running back take over the dang quarterback position. But I'm going to tell you something. Peyton Thorne's not it. Once he cannot flush bad plays. He makes a bad play. He goes right back to another bad play. The fact that you couldn't get a quarterback in there just even a hair better than this guy is mind-blowing to me. Trey, the hard thing is I've got a few friends that are Auburn fans that I absolutely love. Darcy being, Darcy. We love Darcy.
Love Darcy.
Just love her, Trey. And I'm going to tell you something. She lives in Jefferson City, Tennessee. She drives to every single home game. Like, I don't hate Auburn, but it's just like, what are we doing in the quarterback position? You know what I mean? And here's the thing. If at the beginning of the game, I thought Auburn looked really, really good. But the second this kid starts making mistakes, he cannot get out of his head and it's over. You can count it as an L at that point. And I mean, I give it to the Auburn fan base though, man. They show up, they pack that place out to lose. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Well, Wendy, there are 2 things. Number one, Peyton Thorne must be an All-American in practice. And I say this a lot. I'm not trying to bang on Peyton Thorne. These kids are out there trying. They're trying their hardest. They're not trying to screw up. They're doing the best they can do. And that's fine. We're just talking, dude. It's all good. But Peyton Thorne must be really good in practice or Hugh Freeze wouldn't do this.
Right.
Hugh Freeze must see something in this guy that nobody else does, Wendy. But it just reminds me of something. If it's raining outside and you walk outside and it's raining, it's raining. Like, it's raining outside. Well, when you watch a quarterback have as many problems as they do last year, that at some point that is what it is. It's like you're trying not to believe what you're seeing. And either the quarterback's not adjusting or the coaching staff's not adjusting. But because in the second half, Auburn got a couple of bad breaks in the second half. And I say bad breaks. California just literally started punting it inside the 2-yard line. And that's tough for any offense. I understand that. But every time Auburn realized that Peyton Thorne was not going to be able to throw the football, California might end up having the best defense ever known to mankind. We don't know. It looked like they did yesterday. But every time they were running the ball and every time Peyton Thorne stepped back to throw a pass, he was getting sacked. He was getting hammered. He was getting sacked. And they just didn't have a chance, Wendy. I don't know what Hugh Freeze is doing down there. And there's either two things. If he's the best you got, he's the best you got. But I can tell you one thing. If I'm an Auburn fan, I want to at least see what else we have.
Right. I mean, that's what I was going to say.
Show me what else you have. And if I'm Auburn and if Peyton Thorne is the number one guy down there, and that's fine. If Peyton Thorne's going to do two things. He's going to hand the football off. He's going to run the ball until there is just no doubt they've got a matchup in a play where they can throw the football. And they're going to try to win the games that way. Wendy,
well, listen, hold on before you move past this. Chris Arnold sent us a text, our buddy Chris Arnold, old Nacho. This is what he said. The Auburn football Tigers QB situation is by design. He wanted to go get some guys that for his system and told Auburn he was recruiting everyone else. Don't be surprised when they either snag a JUCO QB or pay in portal after this season. His idea is to set up everybody else on the field, both sides of the ball, in his system, Hugh Freeze, and then next year just shoot out of the cannon. There's a little bit to be said for that. So he could really just be setting it up and he'll go out to get the quarterback to match up with the system, which is great, but it doesn't help you this year, Auburn. It don't help you win games this year.
Yeah, but as an Auburn fan, you go and you get these 3 or 4 really good receivers and you have them on your books. For not to have somebody in there that can get them the ball has got to be demoralizing. And how Hugh Freeze can't get them the ball. I mean, Hugh Freeze's offenses are designed to have people running wide open. And like I said, he has a hard time getting to them. Wendy, Auburn, this was never going to be Auburn's year anyway.
Right.
So can they kind of do what Chris and you were saying, get the thing going and have a good year next year, let some of these guys develop? You don't want a disastrous season, Wendy. I can tell you that. Wendy, we gotta move on to the final product that we saw last night, and it was the Alabama Crimson Tide. Roll, Tide, roll. We're gonna blast South Florida by 60. Nobody can stop us. Nick Saban's in town. We're at a nice pink tie, Nick Saban. It is now Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium, Wendy. It was kind of epic. It was, when you think of somebody naming the field, it's like, okay, that's cool that the field's named that. But to see it on that placard outside of the stadium, that kind of set home with me. And to see that big lit up sign in the stadium, I don't know, that affected me a little bit different. That was pretty cool, and to kind of reminisce on what impact Coach Saban has had on the Alabama and the college football game. That was really cool to see. But when the football game has to be played, it goes off, and once again, South Florida has given Alabama a run for their money. Wendy, what's up with the Crimson Tide?
Well, you Alabama fans might not like this, but I don't know, y'all. I'm just going to go ahead and call it. I don't know what's going on, but we do not look good, in my opinion. Our offense, and I don't want to hear that we got the left tackle Proctor, he's out, and this other guy, number 75, is a backup. Y'all, if the quarterback that we were playing could throw the ball, our DBs couldn't even cover their receivers. I mean, if the guy had an actual accurate passing arm, they'd have scored 42 more points on us. Like, this wasn't just an offensive line problem. That's just what we paid attention to because it was so obvious. We cannot forget those deep balls that they beat our guys. And if it's a Georgia, a Tennessee at this point, heck, a South Carolina, maybe not Auburn, but definitely those 3, we're not winning a ball game. And I mean, we got a big problem, y'all. And I'm going to tell you, you look at that score, it's real deceiving. I mean, we didn't do anything until the very last 6-7 minutes of the fourth quarter, and they had us. I mean, it was so bad. And Trey, I don't even know how many passes that quarterback actually completed, but we went right back to Jalen Milroe looking nervous a little bit. not recognizing the blitz. What was it? You said they did it every play and he somehow still couldn't pick up on it. We don't look good. And we looked really scared against a team that we shouldn't be scared to play.
Yeah. And let me throw this in because I don't want to throw this in at the end. Tennessee wins big. I mean, I know I'm jumping around. I have one more thing on here. Tennessee wins big. Wendy, Tennessee looks like the real deal. They did win big. Rocky Top. I'm just telling you, there will be more whiskey sales in Tennessee this year than ever. You better unlock the unlock stock. The economy is going to explode in Knoxville, Tennessee this year. But back to the game, Wendy, and I agree with you on this Alabama game. Listen, our defense still looks good, okay? Our defense still looks good. I like the way we look there. Our offense, that's kind of what I was getting to last night. And I will say this to all our text thread. Our text thread used to be Roll Tide. Now it is something else that I can't even say on TV. But the text thread got going crazy last night.
Right.
I mean, we were close to having to set up an 800 hotline to calm some people down. Like you said, Bama comes back and kind of puts it away. To the game. Alabama's offense and Jalen Milroe, when he gets the ball, it's almost like he doesn't have a clue that they could blitz. Like, it never crosses his mind. It's not like, because sometimes when you're looking for a blitz, okay, and I've never played quarterback, but just theoretically, you get the ball and you've got one guy as a quarterback, but you've got to make sure if this guy comes, this is my problem. And I've got to have a hot outlet and I've got to do something, okay? Everybody else is picking up everybody else, but this guy right here is my problem.
Right.
Well, he just gets the ball and starts looking downfield. There's 8 guys coming towards him. Our receivers are running 30 yards down the field, and by the time there's a South Florida guy about to decapitate him, we don't even have a receiver that's turned around. It's like they're still running down the field. It's that's not a player thing to me. That's a coaching thing to me.
Right.
It's not like I know exactly what's going on out there, but if it happens once, that's one thing. Hell, it happens 6 or 7 times.
Yeah.
It's like they never said, hey, if this guy blitzed, which he's blitzed the past 4 plays, don't run 70 yards down the field. Just stop. The guy's 20 yards off of you anyway, and let's dump it off and get this guy backed up. I blame some of them on the coaching. I think Milroe's got to slow down a little bit, and they're going to have to simplify the offense. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to be critical. You've got to simplify the offense. I'm just telling you. He knows how to throw it deep, fine. But some of these checkdowns, man, he's got to get better. Wendy, we got to jump off.
Yeah, but Trey, our ball control, we don't yes, over the last couple of years with Saban, we were getting more penalties than we normally do. Yes, penalties.
Wendy, they just threw another flag.
Yeah, it was flag after flag after flag, same guy. But here's your other problem. We're fumbling balls, and ball control with Nick Saban was everything. So we've got a run back. This guy's just trucking it. He's gone 60 yards, ball's out. You never thought when you got around people to put both hands on the ball? Derrick Henry does that. He's in the NFL, and people are scared to tackle him. You get him under snap on the 1 or 2 yard line. What? When do we ever do that? Never.
Wendy, is the center of the problem? Is the center of the problem, or what are you thinking now? Could it be?
No, listen, you were right. Last year, I will blame anybody but a quarterback for a lot of things at Alabama. But I will tell you, it's a cadence issue, like you said. There's something there. And I want everybody that actually listens to this show, which is probably like 8 people, but if you do, next week, pay attention. I have never seen such a slow hike of a ball. Like, I'm just, the center snaps and then it gets there. It's like it's a 5-second delay before Milroe even gets the ball. First 3 snaps of the game were high. You know what I mean? That throws off everybody's, throws off your running back. It throws everything off. And let me just say, I said from the jump, you play these weaker teams. We knew by the 4th quarter they'd be worn down. Our defense was worn down by that 4th quarter. It was worn down. I told you what I wanted to see was sustained drives. We ain't got none of those. Like, I'm just saying, this Wisconsin game, we don't need to look past it because it could be a problem, but we better get something going between now and Georgia, because Carson Beck, he's not missing those throws like the UCF guy did. He's not missing those throws. Our DBs are 50 yards behind him. They're not even near him. If Trey, we literally could have lost that game had the UCF guy had a better arm and a more accurate.
Yeah, I agree with you, Wendy. You're saying a lot of the right things, but you end up winning the game. South Florida, I think that coach was the Tennessee offensive coordinator when they beat us a couple years ago. So they kind of have this new version of whatever this offense is that gives a lot of people problems. I mean, look at what Tennessee's doing right now. It gives people problems, Wendy. Alabama comes out the victor. Wendy, we got to jump off here.
Yeah, but also, this is the last thing I'm going to say, because I'm an Alabama fan. I want to see my coach get mad. I am not into the soft parenting crap. I'm not into it. I want to see a hat thrown. I want to see you pull at your neck. I want something. It's almost like, as a fan, it's like, are you even upset? Do you know something that I don't know? Like, do you actually think we're doing good? I would like to see a little bit of animation, because then I start thinking, is this coach even good? Because Saban would have been going nuts, and I'm just used to more animation. And this guy reminds me of like your picture perfect commercial of how everybody's starting to push soft parenting and soft this. No, dude. I want things getting slammed. I want you picking up chairs and body slamming people with them. I want to see it. But I don't know if this guy, it didn't even feel like at one point that he cared that we looked like we might lose this game. So, I mean, I'd love to see a little bit more animation out of this, man, is all I'm trying to say. I will say it was my daughter's first game under the lights. It was a night game. She had a great time. I'm so glad she got to go to the game and got to see Saban up there. And Trey, the real cool thing they did too was during the halftime show, the band did the Saban Field, and that was really cool. So it was a great day to honor one of the best coaches that ever did it. I got teared up a little bit. I did a little bit of self-reflecting, and who knows, Trey, I hope we can win something one day, but with this guy and his soft skills, who knows? I don't know, but we'll see.
Well,
hey, other thing, everybody needs to stop sleeping on Ole Miss. Dart's the real deal too, y'all. Y'all just keep on, but Ole Miss is got something going on too, y'all.
Well, let's just wait till Ole Miss actually plays somebody, so we'll get back to you in a month. What do you got written down, Wendy? Tennessee and Georgia are the best teams in the SEC. Roll Tide. Tennessee and Georgia, Wendy. I think they play.
That's what I got right now. That's what I wrote down for you.
Well, listen, I love you. We'll catch up later this week. Get next week's games on. I love you.
All right, love you. Roll Tide. Y'all have fun at the game.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.